little bit sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
Oh, hello.
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 Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Hi.
we're doing.
Oh, all right. Fuck it.
Yeah.
We're just starting sloppy. Hi, everyone. Welcome to A Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
And I am Heather Terry.
And as most of you know, this is our power hour of true crime with fucked up people doing fucked up shit, most of the time for no fucking reason, or someone dropped them as a baby.
Well, or that.
Because that's what we found out.
And I love that we start out and it took us 3 seconds to cuss because somebody commented on one of our posts because I was like, you should check our show out because they wanted something with bad language.
Ooh.
And so she listened to us. And then she said 30 seconds in and you said fucked up shit. She's like, I'm in love. And then she messaged again and said she listened to 5 already and she is hooked.
Oh, that makes me happy.
I think her name was Ashley. So thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Ashley. We appreciate
We fucking love you.
Yeah, we fucking do. I was telling myself I need to work on cussing less personally.
Oh, and
in
then
life.
in life?
Just in life. I'm not as concerned about the podcast.
Yeah.
Because once more, no one is holding anyone down, forcing them to listen. That is their choice.
That would be wild.
That would be wild. Speaking of wild, this weekend
Oh my God.
was my bachelorette party.
Her batch that ass up.
And did I batch that ass up?
Yes.
That I did.
I too did.
Yes. In Chattanooga.
Yeah, in Chattanooga. It was so fun. Everything came together, I think.
I think so too. I thought it was wonderful.
I think you had a large time.
Yeah.
I got to plan a party.
The largest of times.
Yes.
The theme was Camp Bachelorette, which was super cute. Mm-hmm. And then we all got matching tattoos of Travie pads. Or as Heather and Leland said, very, very drunk over and over again, Travie tatties.
Travie tatties. Yeah.
Look at my Travie tatty.
Yeah. They did. And MCAT, who went with us, hers just came off today, 4 days later. So
Yeah. Who knows where the status of Leland's, as we got a text message at like 2 a.m. the following day. Travis made it to Barcelona.
Yeah.
See to fly to Barcelona after that. That's youth, man.
right?
I would fucking have died.
That's youth.
Youth. I'm going to assume it's just Leland's young.
I came home and got bed sores that day. So yeah.
I got home and me and Travis were like, we're gaming. I was like, what is wrong with us?
I was like, Will's golfing. I need a nap.
I'm over here like, I just drank champagne again because I just can't get enough of that.
Yeah,
We went on a little hike,
we did.
which was really beautiful.
Rock City.
Yeah. That was a really cool place. I would definitely 100% want to go back in multiple environments, preferably one where I didn't still want to vomit.
You did power through. I'm going to go back for Christmas. There was a swingy bridge. I don't do the heights. I can look out. I can't look down. But I did look down while gripping the rail very tightly.
Yes.
Super tightly. Brooklyn just walked over and basically threw herself over. And I was like squatting down. Like,
I'm afraid of
awkward.
heights.
Yeah. Well,
But
you
not in
couldn't
that environment.
You couldn't
Like,
tell. And then Mallory.
Hiking is what makes me nervous, like where there's not
Oof.
barriers. But
Wow.
Mallory was very passionate about the height of all the barriers.
She's like, these are low barriers. It's like,
Well, just don't run through and push someone.
oh, it was fun.
It was
Large
very
time.
cool.
You know what else was a large time?
What?
Your story. And okay, we need a disclaimer. Disclaimer is
disclaim.
normally I'm the same way because we're recording tomorrow and I haven't even done my research yet. You did your research and your homework last week.
Yes. And watched all the shit
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Because we kind of had a little bit of a breather, which is not common. We gave ourselves a breather on accident because we were going to have Leland record with us at the bachelorette party. And that was kind of like a goal, but it was also a lofty one.
Yeah.
You know, like we knew it wasn't 100% feasible. And
Yeah.
it was me doing the story. I'm sure it probably would have been a little different if like it was Heather's story versus like me and it was my bachelorette and I was the one probably knocking into the sauce a little bit more. I just don't think there's like a point where I wasn't some level of fucked up to be able to do the story. And the story's long, it's lengthy, it's like a big old juicy penis.
Oh my.
And at the end of the day, I don't remember much of it. So I literally sat down. It's been like printed, sitting at my desk now for almost 7 full days. And we're just going to hope.
Here we go. We've
Here
always
you go.
been real and upfront, so we're going to keep on theme.
Keep the train a-chewing.
Boo boo.
That would be choo-choo.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was already going to say poo poo, and then you said train, so I leaned in.
Yes.
All right, tell me a story.
So my stuff, I have it from All That's Interesting, Wikipedia, and then on Apple TV, they had Catching a Serial Killer.
Ooh.
Because we have a serial killer here today, guys.
Oh, hell.
I wonder who it is.
I do wonder.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Jess. We're the hosts of the Wicked Wanderings podcast,
Join us every Wednesday as we explore the mysteries of true crime
the paranormal.
and all things creepy,
We'll take you on a journey through well-known cases,
and stories off the beaten path that are sure to leave an impression.
so stay curious
Keep exploring,
and always remember to keep on wandering. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
So we're going to talk about it. And the serial killer is Bruce McArthur. Bruce McArthur. Have you heard of him?
Bruce or Bruth? Because Bruce I've heard of. Bruce?
I'm going to hit you.
I know all about Bruce.
I'm going to
I
punch you in the
also
face.
sound like Mike Tyson. So, Bruce. Bruce?
Okay.
No, I really don't know who that is.
Oh my God. I was like, dear sweet baby Jesus, let's move past that. Okay. So I didn't know about him either. I tripped and stumbled on him when I was looking at something else, and it popped up from like a landscaper perspective.
Okay.
So that is what originally got me. Was like, oh, it's a landscaper
Yeah.
serial killer?
Meh.
And of course Canada, because I've been on the Canadian border
Man.
apparently for 3
You know why?
months.
You're hanging on to that last name.
You're right.
Hanging on to that maple name.
You ain't wrong, lady. So let's get into it. Let's do some story time. We have Bruce McArthur, who was born on October 8th, 1951 in Lindsay, Ontario, and he's raised on a farm in Argyll in the Kawartha Lakes region. I'm going to fuck up all the locations because honestly, I don't give a fuck about the locations. In addition to raising McArthur and his sister, his parents fostered troubled children from nearby Toronto. Often they would have like 6 to 10 in their care at any given time. And they had a great reputation in the area. So at the end of the day, sounds like things were pretty okay.
Okay.
McArthur's mother was Irish Catholic and his father was a Scottish Presbyterian. So both were devout, causing religious arguments in which Bruce, Bruce supported his mother. It's always solid when a family argues about religion with their kids. So I feel like that's great.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, though, it did kind of wear and tear on Bruce's relationship with his father, as you kind of
You think?
guess. But Bruce also had problems like accepting his sexual orientation. So it had seemed abnormal in the rural Ontario area at the time. I think that even in the like location in general, the timing was just, I don't know. I don't know when it was okay, when we were finally like, let's stop being mad because people are gay.
Right.
And there's still a whole bunch of fuckers out there who need to get through that.
Yeah.
But long story short, he also felt like maybe his dad knew he was gay, and that was another reason why they didn't really get along. But he didn't have the best relationship with his dad.
Does not sound like it.
Yeah. But in the overall, it really does seem like everyone was kind of great human beings. He began dating a woman named Janie Campbell in high school. And as one does in Ohio.
They get married?
Yes. And I don't know why I have Ohio. Oh, I guess he must have gone to school in Ohio.
Oh.
I don't fucking know. I don't know why. Where I got Ohio and Ontario, I'm going to guess.
It's Ohio, Canada.
I'm going to guess I crushed it a week ago whenever I wrote this. He was 23 and he got married in 1970. Around 1973, he began working at Eaton's department store in downtown Toronto as a buyer's assistant. He had graduated with some form of a degree in business. He left this employment in 1978 and began working as a traveling salesman for McGregor Socks, soliciting department stores to carry his merchandise. He later worked as a merchandising representative for Stanfield's, a garment company. And let's all acknowledge that this guy is apparently into fashion, and we may be getting a vibe here.
I mean,
If Travis was just like, I do all men's fashion, I'd be like, okay, do you want to try to shove something in your butt and see if you like it? Because I'd assume some things. And then I'd be like, well, I mean, we can figure this out.
we can still be friends.
We can figure this out. All right, so we have some fucked up news. In the mid-1970s, Bruce's father was diagnosed with a brain tumor and was sent to a nursing home. Well, then his mom ends up like dating or being with another guy somehow, like right after that.
Oh.
So he gets a brain tumor sent off, and his mom's like, let me get under. Best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody.
No man's get underneath one.
So she started fucking somebody else.
Oh.
Bruce was like, I'm very disappointed, mother. And then he finally builds his relationship with his dad.
Okay.
Interesting turn of events. His mother ended up dying of cancer in 1978.
Oh.
And his father lived until 1981.
Wow.
Now, between that time frame and 1979, Bruce and his wife moved into a house on Ormond Drive in Oshawa, and then went after some bullshit ass American dream that we're all supposed to have, right? Mm. By 1981, they have a daughter, Melanie, and a son named Todd. In 1986, the family bought another home, or a new home, or a different home, but they bought a home on Cartliff Avenue in Oshawa.
I'm still laughing at there's a baby Todd. I've never met a baby named Todd.
It's like my mom's name's Mona, and I was like,
Baby
little
Mona.
baby Mona.
I know. Like, this is Todd.
What about Bruce? Baby Bruce?
I mean, a puppy, maybe.
He starts to get active in the church, as most serial killers do, and he tries to hide his homosexual feelings.
Oh.
So obviously, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can't hide that. At some point,
It's going to bubble over.
Knows.
They all
People
know.
I couldn't imagine, though, wanting to sleep with women and be with a man every day.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
That sounds like a terrible internal turmoil that
Oh my gosh.
would be awful.
Especially because, like, currently right now, if someone's like, I need you to touch this vagina every day, I'd be like, ew, I don't want to. So, like, what if I
think
felt
I'm
that way
good.
about penis?
Right? Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, I'm married, having to play with the tools I don't want to play with,
Yeah. That's a
while longing for different tools in a different sandbox. A different life altogether. Anyway, so as we know, he's in a difficult place. And so obviously, this is when you start having sex with men in the 90s, right? Like, okay, having a hard time here, time to get some hard dick.
whoa.
So, interesting fact, I read in one of them, they said that he came out to his wife more than a year later, but they continued to live together. FYI, that's what Wikipedia said. But everything else said that somebody outed him.
Really?
That someone saw him at the gay clubs or gay, like they saw him in an environment and they outed him. And that is when he started murdering people because he was angry that someone chose to let him out and to say that what he was. But at the end of the day, you're cheating. Anyone would be mad
that you're cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like coming out should be like that person's choice and
but not
time.
when
and
you're cheating.
That, I mean, yeah.
With a family.
Fuck cheaters.
Yes, always. Fuck them cheaters.
That's right.
And then they also say too, like, I don't know who they is, but someone else said that could have been what made him hate gay people more. It's like it was obvious it was a gay person who had tattled.
Yeah.
That then corrupted his life, which it really kind of didn't.
It was going to come out eventually anyway.
Yeah. I don't know.
You can't just do that and expect to go unnoticed.
Forever.
Yeah.
Sometime after 93, Bruce's employment in the clothing trade came to an end. They had some financial difficulty, in part due to legal issues connected to their then teenage son, Todd, who had been prosecuted for making obscene phone calls to women.
Wait, what? You get in trouble?
The couple had to mortgage their home in 97 and declared bankruptcy in 99. That is the only thing I found. And in so many other parts of life and videos and the shows and shit, I never saw anyone say anything about Todd's legal issues.
But that's okay.
Yep.
Man.
He separated from his wife in 97 and he moved to Toronto as there was no gay community in Oshawa at the time. He then really just like dives into being a barfly fruitcake. And I love it. I mean, I don't love it. It's all terrible.
Yeah.
But in a different world where I felt like somebody was oppressed to feel their own feelings, go you for letting your freak flag fly. And this isn't even a freak flag.
Yeah.
This is just you being you. So go be you.
Yeah.
And he dives in.
Yeah. If he was a good human, we would say hurrah.
Right. Hoorah. So he moves into an apartment on Don Mills Road while pursuing a 4-year relationship with another man. We're going to just put a pin in that, not really give a fuck, because I don't know that this guy's relevant in all. Like, that's once more the only time I hear this guy's name. Mm-hmm. Now, supposedly they break up. And this is when Bruce's divorce was being finalized, and he saw a psychiatrist and was prescribed Prozac for a few months. At this point, he decides to kind of be like a landscaper. So I think he's really just finding himself.
Yeah.
Find that dick, doing his thing, you know? So on just after noon on October 31st, 2001, Bruce followed actor and model Mark Henderson into his apartment after being invited inside to see his Halloween costume.
Now I want to know what the costume was.
Bruce struck Henderson several times from behind with an iron pipe that he often carried. Why, you may ask? I literally have no idea why he's just walking around with a metal pipe. He fought back before losing consciousness. After waking up, he called 911, and he was taken to St. Michael's Hospital, where he needed several stitches on the back of his head and his fingers, as well as 6 weeks of physiotherapy.
Damn.
Bruce turned himself in after the attack.
What?
Claiming to not have remembered it. He pleaded guilty to charges of assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm, and received a conditional sentence of 729 days, which is 2 years less a day, on April 11, 2003. A further charge of carrying a concealed weapon was withdrawn at the time. The Crown, which is like the state in Canada, so it's like the state, but they call it the Crown, had earlier believed jail time was warranted, but agreed to a conditional sentence after psychiatric pre-sentencing reports suggested that Bruce was a low risk to re-offend. I'm very, very curious as to what said that. But as we dive into it, I was like, so what makes you think that he had a low risk? And apparently it was because that they believed that maybe his behavior was due to a combination of his anti-seizure medication and something called mill nitrite, which is a muscle relaxant, which sometimes takes that, like, you can take it before fucking.
Oh.
So they basically they look at it and they're like, okay, low risk to offend. We'll give you some probation.
And he turned himself in too. So they're like,
but it's also because Henderson knew him.
Oh yeah.
There was he didn't get to not. It's like if I beat you,
yeah,
and then I know that you're going to end up telling. Well, who
so
did
you're
this?
going to tell first. But yeah.
Yes. Now they say that Henderson, so this poor guy, he had been traumatized by the event. Yeah. He didn't provide a victim impact statement for the sentencing. He mentions later that he feels like the death of the other men were somehow his fault.
Oh.
Because he didn't push harder to get him put away. And like he obliterated from it. Like he was the first one attacked.
I bet he does feel bad.
Oh my God.
It's not his fault, but I mean, I bet he does feel guilty.
Yeah. And he truly, truly did because of what the guy ended up being. And he didn't give a victim impact statement. And he's like, maybe if I would have just had the guts to go and, face my demon captor and say something. And I don't know.
Because that's a lot.
I need you to look him up. Mark Henderson.
Okay.
Because he's hot.
Well, you said a model, right?
Yes. He looks like he's got a hot ass Santa vibe. And he's openly gay within his style, if that makes sense. Bruce McArthur.
Oh, you want me to look up Bruce?
No, look up Mark Henderson, but you need to put up Bruce McArthur. Mark Henderson is probably also a second grade teacher in Evansville.
I typed Canada. I don't know.
Anyway, I hate to sexualize him, but he'll be fine. So because Bruce was able to avoid incarceration, spending the first year of his sentence under house arrest, followed by a 6-month curfew and 3 years of probation. So he did get something, but still not enough. Did you find him?
I did. I found him now, and then I found, oh my God, that's a picture of his head. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look at that.
But did you see the Santa vibes?
I did.
Okay. I want to make sure you saw those.
Definitely hot Santa.
Yeah.
He's got pretty eyes. Okay.
During the sentence, he was barred from church and the Wellesley, which is the area where it's like the gay town, if you will. And he's only allowed to go to work and medical appointments, and he had to stay at least 33 feet from Henderson's home or workplace, and he could not spend time with male prostitutes, it says. He was forbidden to possess firearms for 10 years, was not to purchase, possess, or consume drugs without a medical prescription, and specifically barred from possessing amyl nitrite. He also had to submit his DNA to a database and was compelled to undertake psychological and psychiatric counseling, including anger management. A defense lawyer found the list of conditions uncommon and suggested that the judge was concerned that McArthur was still posing a danger. A retired detective noted that parole conditions at the time were unenforceable. They weren't publicized, and that parole violators were only caught if they attracted police attention. Just for that fun, future planning. In 2014, McArthur, or Bruth, was granted a record suspension on the 2003 conviction and was subsequently expunged from his record and would not have appeared in criminal background checks.
Why?
Most records and exhibits pertaining to this case were destroyed in 2010 in compliance with the TPS retention policy. The only surviving documents were the transcripts of the guilty plea and sentencing hearing, the psychiatric report and pre-sentencing report ordered during the trial, and pictures of Henderson's injuries and the weapon. Let's go back in time just to her into 2002. While the assault case was still pending, Bruce registered with Recon, a gay fetish dating website for men into BDSM. He was also active on numerous gay dating websites, including Silver Daddies, Man Jam, Grindr, Bear 411, Bear Forest, Scruff, Squirt,
I hate that I've heard
Growler,
of some of these.
and Daddy Hunt. Just want you to know.
Well, Man Jam, I think it's my fave.
It's my favorite.
Yes.
Bruce joined Facebook in 2011 and cataloged his participation in local nightlife with younger men of South Asian or Middle Eastern descent in several photos. It was pretty obvious, if you ask me, that he had a type. Tall, dark, and handsome. Tall may be a stretch, but dark and handsome wasn't. By this time, Bruce had reestablished himself in Toronto's gay community and was a regular at gay bars. By the late 2000s, he was living on the 19th floor apartment in Thorncliffe Park, which was 3 miles away from where he was banished. FYI. So he went from the family man to the gay man partying it up.
I mean, it sounds like it.
My nose is so itchy. It's
Yeah?
like, I got. He was banished from church and the Wellesley, as I mentioned, over that assault in 2001. But he did develop a reputazione for BDSM and rough sex. Now we're going forward. Because there's a lot, when you have serial killers, it is not that easy to create timelines, people. So,
Yeah, no.
in 2011, he told an acquaintance named Robert James about an incident in which he had reacted violently after being asked to leave a coffee house. James decided to heed advice to stay away from Bruce, explaining that he had heard disturbing stories about him. According to James, Bruce turned red and screamed about fucking, I hate that word, telling stories about me, and you're just like the rest of them. You think I'm crazy. Bruce's landscaping business was operated under the name Artistic Designs, and a colleague who installed water features on 3 of his projects recalled that Bruce was always accompanied by an older white man who appeared to be romantically involved with, and a day laborer, usually of Southeast Asian or Middle Eastern descent. Most of his clients were wealthy older women who found him charming, and he had built a client base through those recommendations. So basically, I was just throwing that other shit in 2011 as like, he had a reputation and he was known to blow the fuck up. Very few moments that they're like, oh, did you know that he kind of was crazy? Fun fact, during the off season, he also played Santa Claus in the mall and made floral gifts for charities.
Wow.
All right. Weird and random. So though his separation with his wife was heated in the beginning, it wasn't towards the end. No clue how the fuck that worked out. 2014, his son Todd, the obscene phone call kid, didn't care for his dad's new sexuality, but had to live with him when he got out of jail and help with the business. Pause and wonder what those calls were about. A former friend of Todd's visited one night and discovered the wall of Bruce's bathroom was decorated with photos of naked East Indian men.
What?
Todd told him that they were men whom his father knew. Bruce did not hide the fact, laughing over it at breakfast.
So just peen all over the bathroom. Plastered peen. Okay. Well, I mean, okay.
That's, yep. Perhaps this isn't the right time, but I had to insert it somewhere, which is probably,
that's what he said.
I knew it. The missing men. I'm going to mention all of them and then go backwards into the task forces that they were trying to figure out what the fuck was actually happening. These men in most cases were of Middle Eastern descent, so apologies. I will get the names wrong, and I'm sorry. It's going to take me a minute to say them all because it's so many.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Jess. We're the hosts of the Wicked Wanderings podcast.
Join us every Wednesday as we explore the mysteries of true crime,
The paranormal,
and all things creepy.
We'll take you on a journey through well-known cases
and stories off the beaten path that are sure to leave an impression.
So stay curious,
Keep exploring,
and always remember to keep on wandering. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Skandarharaj Skanda Navaratham. He was 40. He was last seen in the early morning of September 6, 2010, leaving Zippers, a former gay village bar.
That sounds fun.
With an unknown man. A friend saw Skanda the day before and said he was excited about having a dog. He left his pet behind at the bar when he disappeared. He was reported missing September 10th or 11th. He was romantically involved with Bruce, whom he had met in 1999. He also worked for McArthur's landscaping business, and Fred said that they were still involved in 2008. He was a Tamil refugee from Sri Lanka and had no family members in Canada. Abdul Basir Fazi, 42, was last seen December 28th of 2010, leaving his workplace in Mississauga, though banking records later placed him at church and Wellesley. His last night out included a stop at the Black Eagle Bar and the Steamworks Bathhouse. He was an immigrant from Afghanistan. While living in Iran, a childhood friend had cautioned him on coming out as gay, advising that he should find God or leave. That's a shirt I need. That conflict remained with Fozzie, who was not out with his family. A colleague said that he had been working overtime to ensure that his two daughters got everything that they wanted for Christmas. And he was reported missing on December 29th. His 2002 Nissan Sentra was found abandoned on Moore Avenue, steps away from the Beltline Trail, a small ravine, which was a popular cruising spot for gay men. Moore Avenue connects to Mallory Crescent and the Leaside resident where Bruce stored his landscaping equipment. Two guys, two connections with Bruce, or locations to Bruce. Majid Hamid Kayhan, 58, was last seen on October 18th, 2012 in the gay village near Yonge Street and Alexander Street. He was reported missing by his adult son on October 25th. Kayhan was an immigrant from Afghanistan who fled to Canada with his wife and children in the late 1980s. Kayhan and his wife divorced in 2002, but as the son of a Muslim cleric, he had not come out to his entire family. He had post-traumatic stress disorder from the Soviet-Afghan War and was a heavy drinker. According to a bartender, Kayhan had been active in the gay village since the mid-1990s and would stay at an apartment kept by his partner, who would also not come out to his family. Following the death of his partner, Kayhan romantically pursued Bruce, who he knew from the Black Eagle. Sarush Mahmoodi was 50. He was last seen alive on August 14th, 2015, by his home near Markham Road and Black Manor Boulevard in the South Cedar Brae neighborhood. He was a manufacturing plant worker who lived with his wife. He was reported missing by his wife in August. He had come to Canada as a refugee from Iran and did not have any family in Canada until he met his wife. They moved to Barrie in Toronto to be closer to his wife's family. Police and his family had not connected him to Toronto's gay scene. Though before his marriage, he had been in a 4-year relationship with a transgender woman he had met in a bar in church in Wellesley.
So these are people that are escaping their countries because it's not okay for them to be out. And then he's preying upon these. Okay.
Yes. Andrew Kinsum, 49, was last seen June 26, 2017, the day after Toronto Pride, near his Winchester Street residence in Cabbagetown, south of the gay village. He was reported missing on June 29th. A friend who last saw him said that Kinsman was happy and upbeat. He was known as a stable and responsible man, a superintendent of his building, and a community volunteer. Kinsman had known McArthur for at least a decade, back to when Kinsman was a bartender at the Black Eagle. He had been seen carrying bags of debris in one of McArthur's landscaping projects in 2011 and had been in a sexual relationship with Bruce for some time. Salim Ensign, 44, was last definitively seen on March 20th, 2017 near Yonge Street and Bloor Street, just west of the gay village, though there have been reports that he was seen as late as April 14th near Bloor Street and Ted Rogers Way in the gay village. He was reported missing by a friend on April 20th. Police initially described Ensign as a man of no fixed dress who often pulled a wheeled suitcase. A friend disputed this, saying that Ensign was in an unhealthy relationship and would at times stay with friends. He was a Turkish citizen who had first come to Canada to be a partner, or to be with a partner that he had met in Turkey. According to the friend, he struggled with addiction and was getting control of his problem. He'd completed a certificate course in peer counseling from St. Stephen's Community House just before he disappeared. Bruce was also a client of St. Stephen's and very trusted within the community support organization that he was at. There's so many. Dean Lysawick, 43 or 44. He was not reported missing. He was a resident of Toronto's shelter system. He had periodically stayed at the Scott Mission since 2003 and was also recorded there on April 21st of 2016. He had different struggles with substance abuse and was remembered as being very respectful. He was trying to work more as a cleaner or a laborer, and he was a prostitute at times. Karushna Kumar Kanagaratnam, 37, last had contact with his family in August of 2015. He was not reported missing. He was one of the 492 Tamil refugees from Sri Lanka who had arrived in Canada in August of 2010. When his deportation order was given, he went into hiding in the Tamil community in Ontario and worked as a cleaner and a mover. So he was never even... till they found his body. There's a few of these that until they found their bodies, they didn't even know they were missing. Following the extensive coroner and pathology examinations after Crown, weird, and defense lawyers had information needed for the trial, the victims' remains were released to the families. They did have a memorial for Kinzam in September, and Mahmoudi and Ensign's funerals were held later in mid-October. Lysawick's remains were laid to rest in late October. Now, 5 victims were noted by investigators for similarities: middle-aged, bearded, patrons of the Black Eagle Bar, and self-identified as bears, which are gay men with overtly masculine traits. They had also disappeared over holiday weekends. Navratnam at Labor Day, Fozzie after Christmas, Kahan during Thanksgiving, Essen on Easter, and Kinsman after Toronto Pride.
Oh.
Let's keep this fun time machine going and dive back again into November of 2012.
So many.
It's finally the moment where people start to barely pay the fuck attention. The police department, or the Crown, or whatever the fuck ever, started Project Houston due to the September 6, 2010 disappearance of Skanda, believing that he had been murdered. The investigation was launched after a man had posted on a cannibal website where it was a forum for Zambian meat that he had killed and eaten a man in Toronto. Police end up digging into this, and they're like, no, this isn't it. So the only reason that they, just so you know, the only reason they ever looked into it, the only reason they ever gave a fuck, because of these, 5 victims, 5 to 8 victims, was because somebody talked about eating a person online.
Oh my God.
By June 2013, Project Houston had identified 2 other missing persons cases linked by geography and lifestyle. That's where Basir and Majid had come along. Like Navaratnam, both men were middle-aged South Asian immigrants who disappeared from the Church and Wesley area between 2010 and 2012. Golly, it sounds like a serial killer. An anonymous tip linking Bruce to Navaratnam and Kaihan led police to interview him on November 11th, 2013.
I feel like that took too long.
Bruce stated that he regularly interacted with Navaratnam at a gay bar, but denied being in a relationship with him. He also admitted to employing Kaihan, who I've now said his name differently every single time, with whom he had broken off a sexual relationship. Not trying to talk bullshit, but this guy was tied to them. Not sure at this point if anyone is paying any fucking attention. There are links to Bruce in all of them.
There are. And they're not difficult ones.
No.
Like, people knew who he was.
Yes. They saw them together.
Even
he worked with me. I had drinks with him at a bar. And people know I penetrated his butthole.
Right? And there's one of them that you said, they knew each other for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So, you know someone for 10 years, you're going to be linked to that.
Well, then his car is found right next to where I store all my shit for work.
They didn't do shit about that. There's no way.
No. And this was 2013. So how many more people would have lived if they would have put him away then, where he tied together? They concluded Project Houston completely just kind of quit.
What?
As they were like,
Why?
We can't find any evidence to link the disappearances. We don't know that a crime was committed. No bodies were found.
What?
According to a 2016 case summary, there was still nothing to explain what had happened to the 3 men. But let's be honest, they didn't give a fuck anyway.
It didn't sound like they care.
No, when you watch it, you can tell they don't.
Yeah.
It's gay men.
It's
the same thing as women prostitutes. People don't care.
I'm going to have to watch it.
On June 26, 2017, one day after attending Pride Toronto, Andrew Kinsman disappeared near his residence on Winchester Street in Cabbagetown. On the evening of June 28th, several friends gained access to his apartment. They found no sign of disturbance, though his 17-year-old cat was out of food and water. Noting that his life was stable and that he would never leave without notifying anyone or taking his cat and his prescription meds, his friends report that he has disappeared. Kinsman was active on social media, but investigators found his cell phone was turned off the day he disappeared. My stomach would fucking drop if it was like, oh, your phone was shut off. But to me, that's like done.
Yeah.
Like now we know.
Mm-hmm.
A phone shut off means everything.
Yeah.
At the end of July 2017, the TPS created a new task force called Project Prism to investigate the disappearances of Kinsman and another man, Selim Essen, who we've talked about, and any of the links there. Greg Downer, which is a friend and a colleague of Kinsman's, organized a community safety meeting on August 1st, in which police gave an overview of the task force. Realizing the difficulty police face with judicial authorizations for data from servers located outside of Canada, they found that there was like huge delays in trying to get that crucial information. The dude appealed the dating apps to provide an option for users to consent to have their data released to the police if they went missing.
I mean,
so now it's like a new add-on to the app. Like, dude, if you go missing, I give access to your Tinder profile so they can go through your shit.
I mean, yeah.
Safety hotlines were also set up for those who didn't want to talk to the police. How I could not even like. So if we stop to realize there's a serial killer out there, and instead of just people not getting on dating sites where it's obvious that he met these people on dating sites and preying and killing you, you're like, oh, let me just go swipe right one more time.
Oh,
fucking
man.
A. Fears of a serial killer stalking Church and Wellesley grew on November 29th when the body of Tess Ritchie was found by her mother in an alleyway 4 days after she was reported missing. The following day, the police announced that the body of Alora Wells, a homeless transgender woman, had been identified, her body having been discovered in a Rosedale ravine in August. Those two are not involved in this scenario, but more bodies were popping up. So even more murders were happening.
Yeah, because at that point, if you can't link them, you have to think if it's a copycat or it's the person. The chief, Mark Saunders, held an unprecedented, my favorite word, December 8th news conference on the 3 separate investigations. Although the cases occurred in close proximity, the TPS did not believe that they were related, and that Saunders said that they had no evidence of a serial killer. What? Why? What?
They're saying from those 3 murders because 2 of them happened differently, and
that doesn't make any sense. It sounds like they're trying to take the heat off of them for not.
Yes.
It sounds very suspect.
They have. In one part of it, they said the investigation was difficult because of the lifestyle of the subjects who use dating apps and frequently met with strangers.
So do straight people.
Everyone. That is literally everyone. Everyone who's dating. Every motherfucker out there that is dating. Every single one of them. Guess what? They're all doing dating apps. Guess why? Because no one's asking me if this cantaloupe looks fresh in Kroger. I'm over it.
Cantaloupe?
I don't know. It was the first fruit thing that ripeness. I don't know. But I think it's important that we just take the time to be like, let's blame the victim. But I will also say too, guys, if there's a serial killer, oot in a boot, it might be a good idea to not do the things that they're targeting you at. So, women walking alone past dusk, stay in the house, bitches. I know we say we shouldn't have to change our lifestyle. Stay in the fucking house. If a guy is murdering gay men on dating sites, perhaps fuck the guy that you met at Kroger who asked if your cantaloupe were ripe. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So Kinsman's disappearance was central to the creation of Project Prism for more than one reason. First and foremost, he was the only white victim.
Okay.
This dude would have gotten away with everything and more. I guarantee it. I fucking guarantee it.
Sounds like you're right.
He picked a white man.
Oh.
He was the only white victim. And the second he went missing, the news blew it up.
Of course they did.
Why not?
Of course they did.
Because systematic racism is coming in fucking hot, loud, and clear, as it always fucking does. There were 7 men before him.
Yeah.
I'll stop being crazy.
Yeah, because it's not the white victim's fault, but it's still fucked up how that works.
Well, what was also really sexy about him, because let me just tell you, Andrew Kinsman was a slut for a calendar. And he wrote Bruce's fucking name on his calendar. And he went missing after seeing Bruce.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Oh.
A surveillance video outside of his house also showed him a person matching his description, approaching a red vehicle. The video was pretty shitty as those were.
Yeah.
Back in 2012 or whenever it was. Now that our Ring doorbells show our pimples. The video, you couldn't see a license. I'm sorry that one got you so hard. You couldn't see the license plate, but you could see like this chrome siding that was identified as a 2004 Dodge Caravan. There were more than 6,000 similar models in Toronto, but only 5 were registered to somebody named Bruce.
Oh.
Of those, there was only one 2004 model, and that belonged to Bruce McArthur.
Got him.
It's coming together, baby. It's coming together.
Got him.
By late August, September 2017, they matched the van from the surveillance video, and it's time for us to pay some attention to Bruce. They pull some of his information from his data from Google, his wireless, TELUS, the bank, all that, and they're tracking him at this point.
Yeah,
because I don't think they're like, we can just arrest you yet, because technically they only have correlation.
Yeah, because he could be like, well, we got in a fight and then I dropped him off a block away out of camera view.
Yeah, he got in my car. He asked me if I could drop him off at whatever. So I dropped him off.
He was like, I don't know, we hung out and then dropped him off at a friend's house. They say that all the time when they're being interviewed.
They ended up, they literally were like pulling through everything. They got his vehicles, his phone, his everything. On October 3rd, plainclothes officers visited Dom's Auto Parts in Court Rice, Ontario, where the owner confirmed that he had purchased his minivan. So homeboy sold his minivan after killing the dude.
Yeah.
If you can imagine, cops, you buy a vehicle and a cop comes and they're like, did you buy this 2004 Dodge Caravan? You're like, indeed, I did. And they're like, well, we're going to have to tow that away because we're pretty sure there's semen, blood, and death in there.
I mean,
could you fucking imagine? You're just driving your kids off to fucking preschool. They're like, what's that stain, Daddy?
What?
It's a murder van.
What's that?
It's a murder van. Anyway, they did say that they found trace amounts of blood in the vehicle, and the blood was identified as Kinsman. Yeah. Court documents show that in November, cadaver dogs were brought to a Mallory Crescent resident in the Leaside neighborhood of Toronto. Bruce, being the fucking landscaper that he was, had an arrangement to tend to the owner's yard in exchange for storage space in their garage. The lady was super fucking sweet. She was like, yeah, of course, you can totally do that. And I'm just gonna, just take care of my yard.
Just take care of my yard and you can put shit in there.
Yeah, that's fine. The dogs did not find any human remains. The police had also obtained a log of his key fob for his apartment. They had a tracking warrant for his cell phone. They're building a timeline. And now it's all for, though, Kinsman. Mm-hmm. Number 1. The evidence from the caravan. Well, obviously, it not only matched Kinsman, though, it also matched Essen, which was one of the men that went missing. Yeah. And they obtained a general warrant for his apartment on December 4th.
December 4th. What year are we in?
Now, I don't know.
2000 something.
So the police covertly enter into the residence and they clone his computer's hard drive. Cops be doing cop shit. They literally get a key fob into his apartment, do it while he's gone. Download all his shit. In the news conference, which is probably why that December 8th news conference said that there wasn't a serial killer, was because they were trying not to have everyone actually know what was going on. Yeah. They stated that they had completed 62 witness interviews, 28 judicial authorizations, and assigned 308 actions, of which 225 had been completed at that time. So they were even using a drone. Like,
so they were doing shit.
They were finally fucking doing shit. But that's because literally Kinsman was like, hey, dude, here's the person who killed me.
Yeah.
I wrote their name down.
I wrote their name down for you. Can you please pay attention?
Do you mind doing something about that name that's right there?
Yeah.
The investigation picked up in January of 2018, where they noted they had like 15-hour days doing all of this shit, really watching him. 2 pieces of evidence that came to light. As you know, on January 17th, actually you don't know, on January 17th, 2 pieces of evidence came to light. It was a partial download from his computer that they were going through forensic analysis of deleted files, and ended up being none other than photos of their dead bodies.
What? This story's blowing my mind, and here's why. Because you just said 2018. Mm-hmm. You don't hear about things like this that are this recent.
What do you mean? That was only 6 years ago.
You know, but like it's like a serial killer nowadays.
We just had it. We just had them. They're happening more.
It feels, I don't know.
I think what's frustrating on this one is that it happened so recently. It happened to gay men, and it happened to men of Middle Eastern descent.
Yeah.
If that happened, would this be different if it happened in the 80s? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably no one would care because they were gay. They wouldn't care about their skin tone. They'd care about, I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, well, I don't know. Systematic racism has been literally just forever. But
yeah, the storyline of this doesn't match up with the year, in my opinion. Like, it feels like it should
That's
be
because you're open-minded and you don't believe in...
That's true.
That one life matters more or less than another life. That is why. That's why it's so mind-boggling.
That's why I can't wrap my head around it. And you keep saying the years, and I'm like, I can't believe that was just like not that long ago.
Yeah.
So sad. All right, keep going.
The investigation, I already said that. A partial download, I already said that. So, yes, the bodies, he had taken the photos of the bodies and then he deleted them. But I also read that he would dress them in fur coats and hats and put cigars in their mouth.
When they were dead?
Yes, Heather, not when they were alive. Round-the-clock surveillance was officially on Bruce at this point, and they said that if he comes back with anyone, ever, if he comes back alone with anyone ever, it's time to arrest him. Well, shit is bananas.
You know he's not going to keep it in his pants.
Because they see Bruce go into his apartment with a young man on January 18th. And whenever they do walk in there...
Do they get in there in time?
The dude is tied to a fucking bed. The guy had met Bruce on Grindr and had met with him to have sex several times before, prior to, obviously, the police running in there. John, quote unquote, had agreed to be handcuffed to his steel bed frame. But then he had put a black bag over his head and tried to tape his mouth shut before the rescue.
I'm so glad they got in there. Because you'd be like, oh, this is just another kinky game. That's fine.
I think the second he put the bag over his head, he was like, oh, fuck.
It's like, oh, no. Octopus or whatever your safe word is.
Police seized his electronic devices from his apartment, including 5 cell phones, 5 computers, 3 digital cameras, and about a dozen USB flash drives. Evidence found on these devices prompted investigators to charge him with 2 counts of first-degree murder and the presumed deaths of Kinsman and Essen. Their bodies had not been found, but police said that they had a pretty good idea of how they died. They felt the case was strong even without the bodies. By the end of January, they said this was one more time, unprecedented case, with hundreds of officers involved with 30 properties being searched. Why, you ask? Because he was a landscaper.
Oh, man.
Yes. One of them was a 9-acre freaking property. So the Maddock property in a home on Collins Road was residences of Roger Horn, a landscaper and longtime friend of Bruce's. Another property was the condominium of his former boyfriend on Concord Place. These 3 properties were released back to their owners in January. And the owners of the Leaside residence, they were barred from their home for I couldn't imagine, for their forensic search. So imagine that. Somebody just, you come home and they're like, dude, your landscaper was a serial killer. And so you can't come home for 8 months.
Do they put them up? Like, what do they do?
I'm sure they do. But I'm sure it's some shit-ass place.
Yeah.
I have a fucking 9-acre land.
That's
And
true.
you're like, oh, I'm sure you're going to put me up at Best Western. The dogs take a serious liking to the fucking potted planters.
No. Nope.
And they were frozen to the ground because, duh, it's fucking January. So they dig a little deeper. They use a hairdryer or something. They got to warm up the soil. I don't know what the fuck they did. And they find dismembered skeletal remains of at least 3 people in 2 of the 12 planters.
Oh, no.
Although the remains had not been identified, police had gathered enough evidence to charge him for 3 additional counts of first-degree murder in the presumed deaths of Majid Kayhan, who was a Project Houston, the first one subject, Sarosh Mahmoudi, who disappeared in 2015, and Dean Lysawick, a homeless man who was never reported missing. On February 8th, police announced that they had found the remains of 3 more people from the Leaside residence and that one of the 6 sets of remains belonged to kinsmen, identified through fingerprints. Additional planters were seized from across the city, including one from the Danforth neighborhood and 2 properties in North Rosendale. A forensic pathologist was expected to take at least 10 days to remove the remains by hand.
That's so fucked up and sad.
Yes. It really, truly is utterly terrible.
Yeah.
On February 10th to the 11th, the search was completed and it was released to its owners after more than 3 weeks. So it was only 3 weeks that they had the house. The owners requested that police keep crime scene tape up just so that those journalists who were harassing them aggressively would fucking back up.
I bet they were.
I couldn't even imagine.
No.
I couldn't even imagine.
Just because you had somebody do your yard.
They spent hundreds of hours searching every inch of his apartment where they believe most of the murders occurred. It took them several weeks before searching his bedroom, where they had expected to find the bulk of their evidence. The search concluded on May 11th, having occupied 10 forensic officers for nearly 4 months. They took more than 18,000 photographs and collected over 1,800 items.
Jeez.
On February 23rd, Bruce McArthur was charged with a 6th count of first-degree murder in the death of Skandaraj Navaratnam, a subject, once more Project Houston. His remains and those of Matt Moody were identified through dental records and have been recovered from planters at the Leaside residence. On March 5th, which I'm like, let me make sure my dates. Yes, on March 5th, they held a press conference and released a photo of an unidentified deceased man who they believe was another one of his victims. And they got 500 tips on that one. They also announced that a 7th set of remains had been recovered from the planters. On April 11th, Bruce McArthur was charged with a 7th count of first-degree murder in the death of Abdul Basir Fazi. He was at this point charged with the deaths of all 5 men from the Project Houston and Project Prism investigations. The charge came as Fazi's remains were identified from those planters along with those of Essen and Lysawick. Investigators had finished searching those planters from which the remains of all but Kayhan had been identified. They had 1 set of unidentified remains. They'd also searched 8 additional planters from elsewhere in the city, but they did not have any human remains. On the 16th of April, he was charged with an 8th count of first-degree murder in the death of Karushna Kumar Kanagaratnam, whose remains were the 7th identified from the Leaside planters. He was under the deportation order, and that's why no one reported him missing.
Oh, my God.
The scope of the investigation would go into what they basically took years because then they had to do every single place he went on vacation.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. So they were like, he was killing these people from 2010 to 2017.
That's insane.
7 years. So then they had to investigate every possible place he went for. Imagine 7 years of vacations.
Yeah.
Whenever you have money.
7 years of travel. That's fucking wild.
They said too that he was actually pretty fucking clever. Obviously, he had to be. 2010, 2017 is not.
That's what I'm saying.
That's skilled level murdering. And they said that he covered his tracks using aliases online, using payphones instead of cell phones. He would avoid areas with surveillance cameras. They said that he targeted specifically vulnerable men who did not have a fixed address or did not have families that knew they were gay. because he knew that would prevent people from realizing that that sexuality was involved in any way.
Yeah, that one was married.
Yeah. Between July 4th and the 13th, 20 police investigators conducted excavations in the forested ravine behind the Leaside property. It's also a big-ass property. They began sifting through a large compost pile. They then proceeded with the guidance of a trained dog and a forensic anthropologist. They collected human remains almost every day of this search.
God.
On July 20th, it was announced that the remains belonged to Kaihan and that the remains of all of McArthur's alleged victims had been identified.
How many was it? That was a lot.
He had strangled all of these men. He had a duffel bag in his apartment that had duct tape, a surgical glove, rope, zip ties, and a black bungee cord along with syringes. The photographic evidence had shown that they were restrained and sexually assaulted. He also kept tokens of their jewelry as well.
Of course he fucking did. What a piece of shit.
In January of 2019, 4 years ago.
Oh my God.
Bruce McArthur pleaded guilty to all 8 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, though he would be eligible for parole after 25 years.
Why?
Some were outraged by the judge's sentencing, saying it was too light. And the judge stated that it was very unlikely that he would even be granted parole because he has diabetes.
Why
and he'll be 91 by the time he would be eligible.
Why roll the dice? There's no need. There's no need to roll the dice.
I agree.
What if in the next 25 years they come out with some pill that fixes that? I don't know. Like, there's no...
They're not going to give it to a person in jail.
They better fucking not. That's all I'm saying.
I think actually they are required to give you like your if you have heart problems, they're required to give you heart meds.
Well,
so we're paying for it every time we pay taxes on tax dollars for tax reasons, for taxes.
I just don't think that there was a need to do that. Like, why? Like,
murder
just throw them away.
Or just
throw
not
them
give
away.
enough? I agree.
Bye.
I agree. They literally put them in a smorgasbord buffet.
Yeah.
Prison. He's going to be putting things in butts everywhere.
Oh my God.
That's another comment, like a concept too, is like, should people who have the same sexual orientation as the people in the prison be allowed to be in that same prison? Like a gay man in with men. Should he be with women? Because he wants to have sex with men.
Oh, never thought about that.
I've always thought about that. Like, should lesbian women be in prison because they can have sex with people? They want to have sex with people. You know what I mean? It's like...
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well,
wow.
Homeboy got away with murder for 7 years and killed 8 people.
That's insane.
And only got caught after the white guy got killed.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that show.
But you say it too, and it's like, I think that we've seen this before with serial killers. We've seen it in every scenario. It's like a serial killer just kills the wrong person. They kill prostitutes over and over again, and then they kill that girl leaving Target. And that girl leaving Target has a loving family and no drug addiction, and everyone cares and is a big part of the school board and all this other shit. And there's all these people who are going to rally around that have the time, the effort, the influence, and they're going to dig deeper and put more pressure on the police.
Yeah.
It's always fucking up and figuring out that one victim that actually has all of this help behind him, if you will.
Yeah.
And whenever he was killing people that just didn't have the police were like, hey, my husband is missing. Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of victims that, and we see it all the time, like sex workers and stuff too.
Yep.
Like, if you're in a more vulnerable position, then you can go under the radar.
I don't want to say that is the smarter route to go.
And he
did it for 7 until the 8th. That was the last person.
Mm-hmm. That's insane. Mm-hmm. Man,
I'm
fuck
winded.
that guy.
I'm
fuck
tired.
Bruth. You did a good job.
Bruth.
Fuck Bruth. I'm glad he said his name wrong.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm personally exhausted from talking so much. And that's a fucked up story of stupid fucking Bruce McArthur.
Yeah. The
landscaper who threw more than mulch into his pots.
I wish that y'all could see. Just wait till we start doing video, because y'all get to see all these facial expressions.
I'd be like, damn, did she do coke? She's scratched her nose like 16 times. I'm also sweating now.
You did have an itchy snoot.
I know. It's also because these stupid nails have like no scratch in them. Like my
you
nails
scratch
have
your nose?
Yes. I would like for you to.
I also want people to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on all the socials.
Do those things. I'm going to go eat a sandwich. I'm hungry.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. Okay.
Thanks so much. Love you. Bye.
Theodore, can I pet that dog?